In this video, we're going to talk about the biggest con, the biggest trick played on the American people that is ultimately causing the most amount of human suffering. A vindictive, evil game played against you by the military-industrial complex. Now, even Elon Musk, just a few days ago, is even coming out and speaking out against the military-industrial complex, talking about the United Launch Alliance, which is a monopoly that has government contracts up the wazoo by Lockheed Martin and Boeing when it comes to sending rockets and satellites into space. Elon Musk is exposing this because now with his new SpaceX company, he is saying, wait, I'm bidding for these contracts. I actually had to sue the government in order to allow these bids to come through. I'm looking at the numbers and I could save taxpayers $100 million when it comes to launching rockets and satellites into space. The Pentagon still says, no, we're going to go with our monopoly. We're going to go with our favorite military-industrial complex buddies, Lockheed Martin and Boeing, which many people don't even know actually receives $800 million per year in order just to stay in business from the taxpayers. When you pay taxes, most of your taxes go towards the military-industrial complex. $800 million of that is given just for them to remain in business with no recommended, with no expectations of anything done with that money except for them just to stay in business. Elon Musk is now exposing not only this huge waste in your money, not only this huge waste in this bloated budget, but also just the enormous incapabilities of how this monopoly is ruining the free market, costing taxpayers money, and also not receiving the same services because when they have a monopoly, they have no competition in order to go against. And now, with the military-industrial complex going out of hand, the Pentagon has lost $8.5 trillion, yes, $8.5 trillion of your money on taxpayer-funded programs that they can't even have any accountability for. There's no accounting. There is no legitimate reason for this money to be gone and not even recorded where it went. This is where the majority of your taxes go to. In the United States, the Pentagon spends more on war, more on, quote, defense, when it's really offense, than all the other 50 states in the United States spend on health, education, welfare, and safety. We have over 200,000 troops in over 144 countries all around the world. And when you look at the defense budget, the military budget of the United States, it is the same size, if not bigger, than the entire world's combined. This is mind-blowing that the U.S. government is getting away with this waste of money that can't even be accounted for, that is only making the rich richer. But it's not only making arms, it's also selling arms. The United States sells more than 50% of the world's weapons than the entire world does. The United States exports more arms than any country in the world. 50% of the arms sent all around the world that cause inhumane, destructive, horrible damage of human dignity, of human life, of humanity, is supplied by the United States. And how does this happen? Well, this happens with corrupt politicians like Hillary Clinton and Bill Clinton, who have set up private foundations that get donations from countries like Saudi Arabia, and then after they get these donations from their private foundations and get all this money from all these corrupt dictatorship evil countries, then Hillary Clinton, as Secretary of State, approves these deals, and there's even emails of her celebrating the arms deals to Saudi Arabia, sending them barrel bombs that they use on human civilizations. Again, just barrel bombing, just civilian neighborhoods, all funded, all brought to you by this corrupt relationship that people like Hillary Clinton have. And if you look at what the United States has been doing, they have been sending arms and weapons to countries like Libya, to countries like Syria. Ultimately, all these weapons come into the hands of radical Islamic terrorists, and they destroy and tear up a country like they are right now in Libya and Syria, causing just the worst human atrocities that you can imagine. All you have to do is look up the videos that ISIS is producing, and at the end of those videos, they should say, this video has been sponsored by you, the U.S. taxpayer, because your taxes go to supporting radical Islamic terrorists because of corrupt people like Hillary Clinton. And now, there's even leaked audio of the military-industrial complex at a private conference celebrating the financial benefit from ISIS and the Syrian war, which of course is funded by both sides. If you look at the military-industrial complex stocks, they actually rise whenever there is more terrorist attacks in this country. And that's why we have well-known politicians, well-known lobbyists, like this Israeli lobbyist, calling for just false flags in order to happen, in order to get into war with Iran. There's been other important Council on Foreign Relations members, other important U.S. diplomatic members who have called for similar things, a false flag attack to lead us into war with other countries. As we know, the Iraq war was full of crap, but this fear-mongering goes many ways, and it's more complex because if you look at all the major terrorist plots that have been stopped by the U.S. government in the last recent years, well, they actually have been hatched by the FBI, and they usually take a dumbwit or ignorant person or a psychotic person with mental diseases. They tell him what to do. He does it, and FBI stops him before he actually gets to accomplish anything. And there's big propaganda. And then later we learn, well, the problem was this guy was mentally ill, and the FBI agents ran the whole operation and told him exactly what to do and gave him everything he needed to do to this terrorist attack. And that's why the FBI goes up and has these huge PR press conferences about how great they are stopping all these terrorists. Meanwhile, they hatched and they plotted all of them themselves. This problem gets more complex, especially when you talk about the situation globally. We have seen the United States being the aggressor with Russia. Russia, of course, to their demise is answering back and being just as aggressive to the United States, and now they're launching all these war games. We have seen this expanded, and we have covered this on our YouTube channel for a number of years with all the war games, with all the geopolitical positioning, with all the troop movements, with all this military buildup. Russia and China have recently built a hypersonic nuclear weapon that could get rid of U.S. air defenses and strike the United States without the U.S. being able to do anything. And because of this huge escalation, the military-industrial complex grows even more, and they laugh at us, looking back, because they, again, are the key pushers of this economy, the key pushers of all your taxes, the key pushers of all this suffering around the world, causing humane suffering. And of course, just a few days ago, the United States with the British forces launched war games with Georgia right on the Russian border. The Russians, of course, are answering back with their own war games, thinking about new ways to counter the United States aggression towards them on their border. The United States have also set up anti-missile bases in Poland. Poland is now building up their military defenses because obviously they are right on the border of Russia, and they want to make sure that Russia doesn't screw them over. But the United States is using Poland, and of course their military-industrial complex, buying from Lockheed, buying from Boeing, is also increasing. And Russia is saying, well, we're going to do more drills around the base there just to scare all the living crap out of you. And we have warned you about this. Me and David Icke, on June 26, 2014, even went on record talking about this huge escalation. And the main reason Russia and the United States are headbutting is not only because of Ukraine, but mainly because of the situation inside of Syria, with Russia defending Bashar al-Assad, and the United States and its allies like Saudi Arabia, Israel, Turkey, financing the rebels, ISIS, Al-Qaeda, al-Nusra, and trying to get rid of Bashar al-Assad because of the huge pipeline that Saudi Arabia wanted to build. It gets so confusing. You got to watch the YouTube channel to get this. But we have warned you about this false flag of ISIS for a very long time, telling you this is going to be a major issue. Even before the mainstream media in the United States addressed ISIS, we were telling you, we're seeing this happening. This is going to be major. This is going to lead to the possibility of World War III, with China and Russia allying together to keep Bashar al-Assad in power, with the United States, Israel, Saudi Arabia, and Turkey going against this, having a global proxy war inside of that country, utterly destroying it, and utterly it's all being manipulated by the military-industrial complex, which pokes the Russian bear. creates it to create more weapons, and then we create more weapons, and ultimately we are just indebted to the financial banksters, while the military industrial complex laughs and celebrates all the human suffering, all the evil, vindictive. Literally, this is just Luciferian economy that's happening here with these globalist buttholes who are just happy with the tortures, murders, rapes that are happening around this world that, of course, is being financed by you, the American taxpayer. Now, just think about this. If we lived in a world where we used our money right, with just 1 week of U.S. military spending, we could wipe out world hunger. Just 1 week. If we took all that money instead of building shiny weapons and having all these military drills and all these aggressions against each other, if we could just take all that money and explore space together, imagine the world that we could live in, imagine the capabilities, the possibilities of peace on this world. And it all starts with first understanding the problem which we are addressing here on this channel. Send this video to all your friends, make people aware of just this evil game that's being played against them, played with their emotions, played by dividing and conquering us on these borders. Get this information out there, because ultimately the thing that can stop all this is you and all of us coming together, first educating ourselves, then activating ourselves, inspiring ourselves, and of course acting in the right direction to end all this insane madness that is happening on this planet. Thank you again so much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe. Keep us active by going to wearechange.org/donate, because it is only you keeping this independent operation going. It is sponsored for you and by you. Thank you again so much for watching. Subscribe. We're going to have a lot more content coming here your way on youtube.com/wearechange.